point. Point number
isn't
5.
That funny? Number 5. Salesforce is not user friendly. Geez, we're being mean, aren't we?
Oh, poor, I'm sorry, Salesforce. We like you.
Yep.
Welcome to Under the Hood.
So your website is competing against 80% of websites that aren't even active or relevant anymore. So you've really got to cut.
You know
through.
what we need? We need, like we have for our emails, a junk box for the internet,
for the website. Yeah, wouldn't that be great if you find a website that's terrible, you just put it in the junk box,
drag and drop
for everybody else.
But should we? Here's the question, though, Tony. Like now that we are in the 2020s, you know, obviously SEO was such a big pool for sites like Google for basically dictating what your website should do, how it should get you like more visitors and therefore more business. Now it's all about user experience.
Yes, 100%.
Should we even be calling them websites?
Well, that's an interesting question because I think I'd love to come up with a different name, and maybe we can launch it today because website's been around since the 1890s, 80s and 90s.
That's a long time. Was that back when you were a lad?
That's right. Just after I was born. But something like web portal or web destination or digital storefront. I think you like that one.
Did you ask ChatGPT that?
I might have come up with that.
I like the digital storefront.
So you're saying 10 grand is not enough for me to build a website?
No, I wouldn't say that. I wouldn't say that at all. It's definitely up in the tens of thousands. But, the reasonings for that I don't think are unreasonable. If you think about it, COVID has really shown us that now we're going to be working from home more. Businesses needed to pivot in that regard too. And so the bricks and mortar kind of approach is somewhat distant. It's not completely gone. I think there's still a place for it, 100%. Not saying you shouldn't have one of those, but there are businesses that could ultimately just convert all their physical location to digital. It could be that you have your shop front as your main investment, and therefore, if you were, say, to pay 50, 100 grand for a physical shop front, why would you not spend that same amount for your digital shop front?
That's an interesting way to look at it because I think some people look at a website as being an add-on. Right, I've got my physical business and I just need a website and I need a brochure and I need like as an add-on, right? But I think in today's day and age and certainly in 2023, your website is becoming the center of everything. And if you were to open a shop on a high street, you think about it. You've got the branding, you've got the signage, you've got the interior fit out, you've got the point of sale. All of that adds up, as you were saying, Gabe, to hundreds of thousands of dollars. Why is a website any different from an investment perspective?
100%. And if you consider how many shops you've been in a year versus how many times you've looked at your phone, and tried to search something and find something that meets your needs, what's the ratio like? I think it's pretty much like 95% of the time you're on your phone versus going to a shop these days.
A lot of people think like it's a set and forget. It's kind of like, let's just run the ads, put our thousands of dollars into Google, put up a landing page and sit back and say, why is it not happening? It should just be happening. But you've got to constantly use data and use that. Even things like, putting heat maps on your landing page, like, because you may just have the button in the wrong place. So you're driving all this great traffic that's part of that journey to your landing page and the button's in the wrong place or whatever it might be. So little simple tweaks can help it run through.
Yes, I totally agree.
I think the interesting thing as well is, like you mentioned, we were talking before about Google claim 8-to-1 kind of return on investment. And I think the reason is,
what was
the reason? I don't know. The timer went off.
The timer went off.
Well, I was going to say, just very quickly, that backs up our topic today of all your ad platforms are now irrelevant is, according to a study, 40% of small business owners state that their Google ad campaigns yield no leads.
All right, here's one of the keywords everyone mentions, especially when it comes to CRMs, automation.
We love that word.
Love it every day, every night, when I go to bed, when I wake up. Automation. What is, I guess in a general sense, what does automation mean to you, Tony?
Yeah, so automation means like if you take away the tasks that you do generally that could be done by something else, like it could be a bot, it could be the system itself, but things that can be automated, triggered off without you physically having to sit there and go, okay, that person's called me, manually go in and do something, send them a reply email, manually type it, like all of that manual is gone with a lot of this automation, which means you're left hands-free to be able to do more stuff.
Yep, agreed. And then I think a lot of people get intimidated by that, though. As we talked about before, sales reps, a lot of the time, 50%, as the facts show, that they don't want to interact with their CRM. So I think the one way to, bridge the gap is to set your foundations first for understanding what use of automation you actually need and get use from, especially from a sales or sales to marketing to sales perspective, right? Setting those foundations, building out the buyer journey, understanding this is when sales gets or marketing gets handed over to sales. And then at sales, what kind of automations can be in place to really help and affect my job better than hinder it or make it more complicated. And you'll find that platforms like HubSpot, they do offer very simplified automation tools in the sales realm.
And I think as well, like someone like HubSpot, that's the t-shirt I'm wearing, also grows with your business. Because I think it's something important. Like if you're getting a CRM today, there's a lot of CRMs you can just get off the shelf. Some of them are free. Even HubSpot's free to start with, but it can grow with your business. And have a look at what your budget is as well, because I did a cost analysis here of HubSpot versus Salesforce. And the first year with, say, 50 salespeople, if you're a decent-sized business, $75,000 on HubSpot versus $236,000 for the same kind of automation and setup with Salesforce. So I think I'll go the other way, but unless you want to spend $236,000.
If you got the budget for it, if you're a bank where you have all my money, then I'm sure you can invest in Salesforce.
Yeah,
we're talking about automation and AI becoming more and more prevalent amongst everyone's jobs these days. Sales, marketing, service, doesn't really matter what you're in, but in particular in sales. Your job a year ago from today is probably way different to what it is now, thanks to automation and AI. I mean, that's pretty true for a lot of industries. I think in one particular is the recruitment industry in particular.
That's changed.
It's huge. I mean, recruiters, the most classic salespeople now have accessibility to AI and automation tools that basically you can put, as an example, in your CRM, the CVs of all your applicants, and the CRM can automate and generate automatically all their job titles that they've had before, the ones they're going for, their salary expectations, their history. They can basically take that all out for you, avoid you having to read it all and put them into segmented lists. It's I want to see everyone who's had at least 5 years experience in this job, and then generate a list straight for you. Super quick, right?
Well, you think about how much time you're saving, because I had a couple of stats here. 30% of sales-related activities can be automated, according to McKinsey.
30%?
30%. So you think about it as a salesperson or anybody running a business with sales activities, because, of course, as we said before, everybody's selling today. We're all part of the business, part of the revenue team, the growth team. 30% of your time could be saved by using automation.
Yeah, and I think they project it to be even higher in the future, and I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, think about with the recent upsurge of the pandemic, over those 2 years, one big area in particular, telehealth, rose up with, a whole lot of new AI and automation capabilities that can basically navigate people through as patients to find out what ailments they have and get them the right kind of assistance and service that they need, and that's basically cutting out the middleman of the salesperson altogether. Talking to the show Under the Hood and looking at some of the technology that can support that, definitely HubSpot is a key factor in that. But traditional sales tools people are using all the time, email, phone calls, SMS, even LinkedIn, those platforms can all tie into your central system like HubSpot, like in your CRM, to the contact record, so that you're not missing out on understanding any of those comms, any of those touch points. So you're not double dipping, especially. Right. I hate those emails and those phone calls I constantly get from salespeople where I've already spoken to them and say I'm not interested, or I need more time to think, know?
Yeah. And I think if we go to the very end of the journey, which is the sales call itself, being able to record the sales call where you're going through it, but then using platforms that are out there like Gong, Wingman, Chorus, or some of these ones where you can record the call and then it will actually use AI to pick up certain things in the call. So at the end of it, it will tell you call to actions that you've promised or said that you're going to do, like key points of the sales call that you need to know. So instead of going through an hour-long sales call, you go through a very streamlined action plan of what to do next on the journey to actually close that deal.
Yeah, and then even with those automations, tie in other aspects of your business. So like operations, or service, if there's onboarding required for a product you've just sold, all those things can be tied in together with that communication tool. So like to your point with a transcript, you could pull out key terms from there saying, yep, ready to buy or something as a particular one, or ready to be onboarded as a particular call phrase. That gets automated into your CRM, and then the service team would be notified after the sales call is done to commence that onboarding.
One of the things I read before, which I think really works well, if you think about a very simple format called ads, ADS, that I've seen before. A is for attention. Because I think one of the things with TikTok, and I find it, and if you're a user, you know this, you just scroll. You're just scrolling. So if there's no attention, so think about something, how am I going to get attention? How am I going to stop the scroll? The second thing, D, is demonstrate. So demonstrate something, show something, and re-demonstrate it again. And then finally, S is sell. Like, if you want to sell someone, then do that at the very end. Once you've engaged, once you've demonstrated a product or a service in a fun sort of engaging way, then the next thing is, how do you sell? What's the next step if you want them to do something?
And it's important to note that when people are on TikTok, they're getting fed information specifically to them, to their searches. So it's very catered to what they're looking for and, what they've been reading about and looking previously. So you have a much better chance than Google of getting someone who's a more exact match for your brand, your product, or your service.
Yep.
And I think it's important to think and act as the customer, not the brand. That's a really
think about the
big
customer,
point.
100%. And we talk about this all the time for a lot of different reasons. Like, think about the context of the customer, but especially on something like TikTok, because you've got to put yourself in the shoes, which is why I got TikTok a few years ago, not because I wanted to participate and put content up there, but I wanted to see how people were using it and how people were engaging it. And it's so easy. I think one of the things just to share, if you want to get started, you can actually go to tiktok.com/business to set up your account. And then actually, this was really cool. I like this. It's tiktok.com/business/inspiration. And you can actually search by industry and actually see what others have done and the results that they got. So get some inspiration first on what other brands are doing before you dive in. So what about sales analytics, reporting, and sales automation?
Yeah, I think that's a brilliant thing to really utilize in HubSpot tools, and really differs from Salesforce in many ways because they're all interconnected with your CRM ultimately.
Yep.
And those automations, most of them out of the box are super simple to set up, especially for salespeople. You don't need complex automations. You just need the simple go-tos. Like you'll have ChatSpot now, which has more, direct talk to the AI and it does it for you. But anything practical you want to still do, super easy and available out of the box with HubSpot. And you can, again, go to, the HubSpot Academy or Knowledge Base and find out the most practical things to set up yourself.
But I think the thing as well that you're kind of highlighting there as well is that HubSpot is part of a growth suite, right? So it's not just your sales CRM sitting in isolation like Salesforce, even though Salesforce can be connected to Marketing Cloud and a bunch of other things bolted on again. HubSpot comes complete. So you can actually have within your ecosystem your marketing and your service as well as your sales all kind of poking in together. So this data reporting is the 360 degree, the holy grail of what we want as a business is the 360 degree view of the customer.
Yeah, and then to that point, HubSpot had that from the ground up when they developed their CRM, because that's ultimately what it grew from. Salesforce introduced this later on as the Salesforce 360 model. So, and what better proof is there about a 360 view of your customer than one that's existed from the beginning versus one that was bolted on later? Lead management, like in the pipeline, and connected deals to the contact record in a one singular view each and every time. It's just like beautiful design, like pure.
Sounds like you baked a cake there or something.
Maybe I did. And that comes into point number 8 about account-based marketing.
So important today, isn't it? Yeah. Because if we're really focused on ourselves, then account-based marketing is really, gets us selling to those high-stake prospects, engaging them. But it's not just about, getting in front of them and doing a demo. It's how do you actually nurture them?
Exactly. And then HubSpot has this thing called target accounts, which is built in with your sales hub. That way you can actually see all the accounts that are attributing towards deals or potential deals and look at targeting them specifically as account-based marketing goes. It's very intuitive and it's built within HubSpot, so you don't have to add it in at all. Yes. And there's some business that even leverage AI capabilities to provide AI consulting and training which is amazing when you think about like how many online SaaS-based platforms and products there are. If you just got someone that trains someone on there directly as a real person, but they're AI, imagine how much money you're saving just on hiring cost alone and upskilling to those people on those platforms.
Well, I think so. Even platforms like we've used before. I think I think I'll use it on Toolkit or Toolbox, whatever we call it.
We'll figure it out someday.
One episode. That Tooly thing. I did Synthesia, right, which was a video production platform, right, which has avatars that can present for you in any language and everything. So even that can be a great saving for you if you've got a piece of software and you need to do onboarding. Instead of having someone physically turn up or even produce a high-res video type of thing, full video production like we're doing here for Under the Hood, you can actually go onto platforms like Synthesia and actually get your actual videos chunked together and produced very quickly.
Yeah.
Well, let's continue that one I just said, because there was a great example by a guy called Billy Jean, not Billy Jean's.
He's not my lover.
No, he's not. No. No, we don't. Thank you, Michael. But actually, no, this was interesting because he showed how he used that process, if you like, in terms of using the AI tools that are out there, created an online kind of course or funnel that people would purchase into. 2,500 buyers jumped on and did it at an average cart price of $69. So you know how they bring the price right down. So it's $69 to buy, say, a set of videos to learn how to do something.
Right.
So the funnel revenue was $176,000. The ad spend to get people to do it, because he had to pay, using that process for the Facebook ads, $17,000. So the revenue was $158,000.
Wow.
But then you take that and you say, right, I've got those 2,500 buyers that have bought A. So now I'm going to sell them B. So they then sold another 151 people into their more exclusive and longer term $10,000 16-week accelerator program, giving them $275 a month payment plan for each of those. So the whole thing ended up making like lots and lots of money just by using that AI process and kind of funneling people, I suppose, the old traditional funnel.
Wow, interesting.
Yeah.
So it's almost like he took the need, the pain point that we're discussing already today about how businesses need to upskill, and applied that to a sellable course. He made that a revenue stream, which is very clever. And I think a lot of other businesses probably listening could look to invest in something similar for themselves. But then I think in doing so, that gives you the correct pathways to choose when choosing AI platforms to best generate revenue. Right?
Yeah, exactly.
But it might be a good idea now, Tony, to announce the next episode of...
And what would that be?
As Tony puts away his papers.
I know exactly what I was just getting all nice and tidy and everything like that. I thought we'd going out on a high there. All right, so I thought we could do, the common saying that everybody says is 50% of my marketing works and the other 50% doesn't, right? That term is still used today. So in our next episode of Under the Hood, get ready for it. 50% of your marketing doesn't work. Here is the other half.
My other half, finally.
Yes. The one that works, it's coming your way. Next episode of Under the Hood.
We'll see you there. Bye-bye.